getting all set for our flight today. We have received our flight planning paperwork from dispatch, which I'm just reviewing. I've had a look at the aircraft manual and the company operations manual to make sure we're up to date on everything that we need to know for today's flight. No current changes to company procedures, and the aircraft we're flying today, which is an Airbus A330-900, is in perfect working order thanks to our stellar mechanics here at Monotonic Airlines. We are flying from KSEA, Seattle, Tacoma, to RJTT, Tokyo, Haneda, in Japan. We're slated to get into the air at 11:40 a.m. We had travel distance of 4,803 nautical miles. As such, we have a fairly heavy takeoff weight, estimated at 516,600 pounds, which of course is below our maximum, which is just under 600,000 pounds. All right, with that, we have a minimum takeoff fuel of 166,000 pounds and a block fuel of 167,238 pounds. So, looking at our flight plan, fairly standard routing. Let's pull this up here so we can have a look. We are going to be using the Banger 9 departure out of Seattle. It'll take us out northwest over the Olympic Peninsula, and we'll track our way up the coast of southeast Alaska and British Columbia, and we'll arc over along the coastline of Alaska, crossing the Pacific and coming down into Japan from the northeast. We do have some ETOPS considerations for the flight. Although we're crossing the Pacific, we are going to be staying fairly close to land throughout the journey. We have our early alternate at Ketchikan in Alaska. And then entering our first ETOPS period, we have Cold Bay as an alternate, a former military base up there in Alaska. And then as we progress, our next alternate becomes Kushiro in Japan. And then our destination alternate, RJGG, is Chubu Center in Japan. But the weather is clear in Tokyo and expected to stay that way. We also have a beautiful spring day here in Seattle. So it's looking like it'll be a really nice flight for us. There should be no discomfort for our passengers. For the cabin crew, should make service fairly easy. There is a little bit of a weather system off the east coast of Japan. Have a look at here. There is this system, but our flight path is passing to the north of it, so it shouldn't affect our journey at all. But of course, we'll keep an eye on it and be in constant contact with air traffic control about it. So overall, should be a very good flight today. 238 passengers aboard, including some very special VIPs. Now I'm confident our top-notch cabin crew is going to take some very good care of them. So I know they're in good hands. So that just about covers everything. You have the hotel arrangements. I did take the one that you like less and is farther away, but I get more points for staying there, so that's the one that we went with. Other than that, let's head out to the aircraft and we'll get ready to go on our way to Tokyo. Okay, let's do it. Alright, let's go ahead and get this aircraft ready for flight. Let's start by powering on our electronic flight bag. And let's go ahead and pull down our flight plan from dispatch. Going from Seattle Tacoma to Tokyo Haneda. Looks good. And let's go ahead and request ground power so that we can get everything powered up. Right, so we have external power available. Go ahead and turn that on. Switch on our batteries as well. Alright, so we've got some power flowing. Let's go ahead and turn on our ADIR system so we can get our navigation system aligned on our current reference point. So we're able to pull down flight information from dispatch into our MCDU here. Let's go ahead and align the IRS units on our current position. And we'll confirm that alignment. Those will line up and we'll eventually get our flight displays operational once those are in alignment. Alright. Well, let's have a look at our loadout. And we have 238 passengers aboard. Before we start our boarding, let's go ahead and make sure those seatbelt signs are on. No smoking lights are on auto. And that'll make it clear for us to go ahead and start our boarding process. Let's begin with our pre-start checklist. Make sure that our parking brake is set, throttle set idle, engine master switches are off. Check. The gear lever is down. I see 3 green lights. Flaps are up. Spoiler is up and disarmed. Going to do the APU fire test. Make sure we get appropriate alarm here. Perfect. Go ahead and turn on our beacon. Get ourselves fuel to the APU. And we'll go ahead and turn on the master switch for the APU. Let's go ahead and turn on the APU. We'll look for that to spool up, so we'll have it available as a bleed air source. So we can start our engines once we push back. It's looking good. And the APU is available. The APU generator is on. At this point, I'm going to switch off external power. Let's go ahead and let the ground know they can disconnect. We are flight 4211 today, going from Seattle to Tokyo Haneda. Have our downloaded flight plan information here. Crossing the Pacific to Narita. So runway 16 left is what we'll be using. So let's enter our departure info. We'll be departing from 16 left, so southbound. And we're using that Banger 9 departure. Let's insert into our flight plan. And then we'll have a disconnect as we leave that. So let's go ahead and remove that discontinuity. Perfect. And our destination will be arriving in Tokyo. We are expecting ILS 34, the ILS, runway 34, right, and for the arrival, we will be using Singo. Let's go ahead and insert and check for another discontinuity. And we should be able to clear and have our flight plan linked up. So let's go ahead and brighten things up on our screens here. Get a clear view. Go to plan mode and extend our range so we can cycle through our expected flight. Start here in Seattle, take off to the south and then have a right turn to head northwest. This up, crossing the Pacific. And we will go inland before cutting back, picking up that arc, the Singo arrival. Everything looks good on our flight plan. Let's go back to our arc mode here for takeoff. We do have our ILSs aligned at this point and our flight plan entered. That is looking good. And we have received our IFR clearance. And we're initially cleared up to 6,000 feet. And initial altitude, flight level 340. We'll step climb up higher as the flight progresses. Right, that'll be a flaps 1 takeoff. Let's go ahead and take a look at our loadouts here. Our 0 fuel weight and our CFG. Passengers should start coming aboard. Alright, so let's go ahead and get some info into ahead and get our zero fuel weight and zero fuel weight center of gravity entered. And then that will allow us to go ahead and calculate our reference speeds. We have V1, 156 knots. We are 158 knots. And V2 of 164 knots. That should be set up correctly now. For our takeoff. Alright, as expected, we have very nice clear conditions here in Seattle. Very light wind out of the south. Still getting our passengers boarded. Let's go ahead and pull up our chart here for Seattle. We are parked at the gate here, the south terminal, with 16 left in use. It's going to be a relatively simple taxi procedure. We'll take this taxiway Bravo all the way up to the end of the runway for our departure on 16 left. Of course, we'll confirm any ATC taxi instructions, but that is our expectation, given we just have the 3 parallel runways here in Seattle. Welcome aboard. Wow, that attendant was amazing. Got here right as the door was closing. No time spent waiting at the gate. Looks like I have a row all to myself. No one to cramp my style. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about ready to close up and get underway. This is Flight 4211, Monotonic Airlines, service to Tokyo, Haneda. If that is not your destination, now would be a good time to deplane and find the correct flight. Or if you just feel like drifting off to sleep and waking up in another country, which I know we've all done, feel free to stay aboard. We're here to give you the best service we can, so please let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Our Captain Daryl is a joyless man, but a very competent aviator, a solid B+, so you should be in good hands. So we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Thank you. Just do a final scan of our panel here. Make sure our crew oxygen supply is on. We will arm the emergency exit lights. All of our cabin pressure. And auto, no, nothing required on that front. We are looking good. We'll be in managed flight mode for our takeoff. Once we engage the autopilot after the initial climb out. Hello, and welcome aboard. I'm good, thank you for asking. How are you? Good. Well, you made it. We were a little worried there for a moment, but you got here just in the nick of time. Ah, yeah. Yeah, he's amazing, isn't he? Yeah, so you got to enjoy the lounge then. It's so nice, isn't it? Well, I can't say that we can exceed his level of service, but we'll at least try to match it, okay? Yeah. Well, and to that end, can I get you a beverage to start with before we get underway? Some wine, absolutely, red or white. And did you have a chance to peruse our wonderful list of wine selections? Great. I will be right back with that, okay? All right. Give me just one moment. Let's just have a look. Make sure we have no warnings showing. Still have the cabin door open for boarding. In preparation for starter engines, go ahead and turn on the APU bleed. So we are just about ready to push back once we have final loadout of passengers and get our final paperwork. It should be having an on-time departure here. Alright, so let's go ahead and review our takeoff procedure. I will be the pilot flying this morning. Please monitor radio communications. Should there be any sort of emergency, I will continue flying the aircraft. I will ask that you please go to the appropriate emergency checklist. We'll be taking off from runway 16 left. Initial climb will be engaging the autopilot, expecting a right turn. And clearance to follow our procedure, which will take us out to the northwest. Should be relatively straightforward. Let's just keep our eyes and ears open and stay on top of everything. Any questions before we depart? Very well. We have our final paperwork. Boarding door will be closed and we'll be ready for our taxi clearance. Alright, here we are. I have your Sauvignon Blanc. It's a Cottesbrook from Marlborough in New Zealand. This stuff is delicious, as are all of our wines. To your palate, of course. Let me just pour this for you. And your Sauvignon Blanc. Enjoy. We're about to get underway, but at any point do let me know if there's anything I can do to assist you, okay? Alright, well, relax. Should be a good flight. Enjoy yourself. And I'll see you soon for dinner, okay? Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. I'm Captain Darrell. With me is First Officer Darlene and also First Officer Darrell. We'll be helping to transport you all over to Tokyo Haneda. Flight time this morning is looking about 9 hours and 40 minutes. No significant weather to be concerned with. Should be an overall nice flight for us. It's a beautiful spring day here in Seattle and a beautiful spring day over in Tokyo. We'll be tracking northwest up the coast and then dropping down to approach Japan from the northeast, all along the Pacific Rim, so those of you with window seats, do keep your eyes peeled for any kaiju, and notify a flight attendant if you do spot one. Alright, we have some of the best cabin crew in the world on our flight. They're going to take wonderful care of you. I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight to Tokyo here on Monotonic Airlines. We'll be on our way very shortly. Oh, sorry to disturb you, but one last thing before we head out. Did you need any earbuds? These are very high quality, wonderful sonics to help enjoy our onboard programming. You're good? Okay, great. I will take these, and as I said, if there's anything you need, let me know, and we'll be underway. All right, we have clearance for pushback. Just need the tug to attach. All right, let's release the parking brake. And we'll request pushback. Okay. Should we get confirmation that the pin has been removed from the landing gear? Alright, and the tug is clear. We are good for engine start. We have our APU on. Turn all of our fuel pumps on. Engines are at idle, master is off. Let's turn our ignition to start. And we're going to start engine 2 first. Let's monitor our start. Seeing N1 increasing. Monitoring our exhaust gas temperature as well. It's looking like a good start. We've locked our cabin door for the flight. Alright, and let's go ahead and start engine 1. Again, let's monitor. See it spooling up. Keep an eye on that temperature. Don't want to see a hot start here. Alright, and we two good starts. Alright, so we are ready to taxi. We're set for manage mode on FCU along with our initial clearance altitude of 6,000 feet. We will turn off the APU, bleed air. We'll set flaps 1 for takeoff. Go ahead and arm our spoiler. Set our auto braking to max. Alright, we have our taxi clearance. We'll turn right to head up Bravo to the hold short of 16 left. We have our pitch trim set for takeoff. Let's just double check for any messages, and everything is looking good. Bring up our flight control page, test, see flight control movement as expected, and we do. Or check of fuel to make sure everything is in order, ready to fly. I do love this southbound departure out of Seattle. It's such incredible views of Mount Rainier, a volcano standing all on its own. Really quite dramatic on a clear day like this. Flight attendants, please be seated for takeoff. Folks, we are number 1 for departure with no one ahead of us, so we'll be on our way to Tokyo momentarily. Alright, stop at the hold short here. Get our landing lights on. And our strobes on. Final checks. Needs are set. Alright, and we have our clearance. Let's go ahead and line up. All right, landing lights are on. Flaps 2-1. Have our takeoff clearance, and away we go. Toga power. $80 knots. on, rotate, gear up, engage the autopilot, levers to climb, the autopilot handle our thrust. We're clear to fly our procedure. Be looking for that right turn. Alright, after takeoff, ignition is set to normal. Disarm the speed brakes. MPU and bleed air are off. After takeoff, checklist complete. And we'll lift our flaps as we accelerate here to clean up the aircraft. And there is that right turn. ATC has cleared us up to 10,000. Continuing to follow our procedure. Turn out towards the northwest. I think it's looking good. And we are climbing up to our initial cleared altitude. And we have received additional clearance up to 34,000 feet, which is our initial cruise altitude. We're maintaining 250 knots as per restriction under 10,000 feet. Alright, above 10,000 feet. I'm going to switch off those landing lights. Our other lights illuminated. I have a great view coming over the Olympic Mountains here. Alright, everyone. We are about ready to begin our dinner service. So we ask that you do try to keep those aisles clear so we can serve you promptly. Alright, be seeing you shortly with your meal. Let's go ahead and just check on our system status. Fuel looks good. Hydraulics normal. Electricity as normal. Pressurization. Bleed. looks normal. Everything looking good. Alright, we have hit our transition altitude. So we can then switch to standard on our barometric setting. Really a wonderful view of those Olympic Mountains, isn't it? Well, how are we doing? Good. May I offer you a beverage to start our service off here? Well, the Negroni is an excellent choice. Use Campari, of course. Then we have Coche di Torino Vermouth. And then the gin is the Botanist. This is really amazing stuff. It's made the Bruichladdich distillery, the makers of Scotch on Islay, and they use a variety of botanicals foraged on the island of Islay, and it makes this incredible gin. So this is a very special cocktail. It's what you'd like? Perfect. Let me get that made for you. Got our mixing glass here. Just 1 ounce of each. Beautiful color. And of course, this amazing gin. Some ice in there so we can make this nice and chilled for you. Nice spoon here. Do a nice chill on your beverage. And our strainer. Slot this on there. There we go. And of course, you're going to need a bit of orange peel to finish off your drink. There we go, a wonderful Negroni. Please enjoy. Alright, I'll be back shortly to get you set up for dinner, okay? Wonderful. Alright, enjoy. Very tasty. Well, the scenery is potentially a real treat on this flight if we don't get too much cloud cover. But we'll see. Alright, I'll be back shortly to get you set up for dinner, okay? Wonderful. Alright, enjoy. We have the scenery is potentially a real treat on this flight if we don't get too much cloud cover. going right over Vancouver Island. There's a beautiful place to visit if you've never done so. On the Alaskan scenery, of course, beautiful. Climbing up through 28,000 feet. As we get towards 34,000, we'll ensure that we successfully level off and maintain that altitude. Alright, does that suit your taste? Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Alright, well, let me get you set up for our meal here. Place mat here. Napkin. And let me get you some silverware as well. And then, of course, have some chopsticks, if you would prefer. Okay. And some water for your meal. Okay. There you are. And are you good with your beverage, or did you need something else as well? Okay, perfect. Well, be back in just a moment with your entree. Okay? And we see the autopilot capturing and leveling at flight level 340. Right. What an absolutely scrumptious view. Alright, everything is looking good. Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain. We have leveled off at our initial cruising altitude of 34,000 feet. We're expecting a pretty smooth ride, so I've gone ahead and turned off that fasten seatbelt sign. Do try to keep those aisles clear so your cabin crew can take care of you. And please do keep those seatbelts fastened while you're in your seats, in case of any unexpected rough air, and especially so those flight attendants won't have to bother you if you choose to get some rest on this long flight. We should have a pretty good ride on our way to Tokyo, so please do relax and enjoy the flight. We'll keep things quiet up here and check back in with you as we get close to our arrival. Please do enjoy the hospitality here on Monotonic Airlines. Alright, how we doing? Good, I'm glad to hear it. Now, before we begin, I need to ask you a question. Are you buckled in? I know the seatbelt sign is off, and it's good practice to keep your seatbelt on, but I'm more concerned because this meal could really knock you out of your seat. Okay, this is one of my favorite meals they serve on the airline. We have a chicken katsu curry served over rice with that wonderful golden brown curry sauce, a shredded cabbage salad, and some Japanese pickles, which are amazing to balance out some of that richness in the fried chicken. So I want you to please enjoy this meal. All right. Anything else I can get you at the moment? No? Okay. Well, just let me know if you need anything, okay? All right. Wonderful. That is just perfectly delicious. Unreasonable hospitality. I like the sound of that. Yeah, that sounds like my kind of vibe. I don't know. Yeah. check that out. Okay. Well, what did you think of that chicken katsu curry? Isn't that spectacular? A nice hearty meal too. Should help you get a good sleep while you're on the flight. Can I take that plate from you? Perfect. Okay. And if you're willing, I would like to replace it with a smaller plate containing dessert. Are you ready for this? Isn't that absolutely adorable? It is a strawberry mousse, light, fluffy, wonderful strawberry flavor infused in there. Would you like some? I thought you might. Please enjoy. Simply delectable. Alright, tracking towards YZT. Everything looks good. Alright. What did we think? It's almost too cute to eat, isn't it? Almost. I mean, I saw you had no moral qualms about destroying it. It's very good though, right? Can I clear that plate for you? Okay. Just finished clearing the rest of folks here, and I'll be back in case you need anything else. All right. Okay. Going to be crossing over the peninsula here, southern Alaska. I'll be turning to the southwest, tracking over the archipelago as we head more towards the mid-Pacific, and cutting over towards Japan. Let's have a look at our fuel status. Estimated fuel on board at our arrival, still looking good. No surprises there with our fuel consumption, which is good to see. Still cruising along at flight level 340. get you anything else? Another beverage, perhaps? A nightcap? Or a day cap? These westerly flights are kind of weird like that. Well, I do have a very special treat if you might be interested. Okay? It is this Sakura vermouth. Look at that pink color. This stuff is really amazing. It is infused with cherry blossoms. It's so perfect after dinner like this. One last little treat before you drift off to sleep, you know. Would you like to try some? Of course. Let me just give you a bit here. All right, enjoy. Wow. So delicate. Cherry is so good, but it's complex and nuanced. Really amazing. It's really good, isn't it? Yeah. Well, the last thing I have to offer you this evening, and of course, if you do need something further, hit the call button and let me know, but otherwise I'll leave you alone so you can rest and just enjoy yourself. But I have this mask, nice refreshing mask that you can use before you go to sleep. Very comforting and relaxing. Would you like? Okay. There you go. Now I'll leave you to it. Just sit back, relax, and have a good flight, okay? All right. Some really remote and beautiful terrain up here.
Here to help. Well, yeah, I mean, they're not due for a little bit, but getting them done early gives you peace of mind. And that's really what I offer. That and protection from tax-related asset seizures, which can be a real pain, let me tell you. Great. You have paperwork for? Oh, okay. Awesome. Just have a look here. There we go. Okay. W2. So to get started, I'm just gonna ask a few questions for some of the basic info we'll need. Are you still at the same address? Okay, and you haven't moved during the year? Okay. And did you change jobs at all? Okay. And unemployment? Good. Okay. And are you in the military? Okay. And married, or did you become married this year? Okay. Great. Okay, let's start with W2. That is a very nice number. If you get a raise this year, you'd have to make a bigger box on the form. How long have you been doing this? I like the W2. W2's easy. But it's not where I make my money. Anyone could do W2. It's the more complicated stuff, but really where I can help out.
Alright, we have passed over the last bit of land until we hit the Japanese coast. Sitting there on our starboard side. And in a little under an hour, we'll have our first step climb up to flight level 360. Is everything? It's looking good. Hey, I'm Randy Kettlebell, fitness influencer and strength coach, and I'm here for your mid-flight workout to help prevent DVT. What is DVT? Deep vein thrombosis. It's a risk on a long flight like this if you're sedentary for too long. Blood clots can form, which can pose a real danger to health. So I'm going to take you through a few basic exercises to get that blood flowing and those muscles moving. On a long flight like this, if it is safe to do so when the seatbelt sign is off, it's great to take a walk for a few minutes on board the aircraft to stretch the body and keep that blood flowing. This workout is to help you do those exercises in a safe manner in your seat. They're a great supplement, or if you're unable to get up due to the seatbelt sign, you can do these and help prevent DVT. It's really easy. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. Alright, so first, let's go ahead and do some circles with our ankles. We're going to go outward first. We're just going to turn those ankles do, and then we'll do it to the inside. Just work both directions. Loosen up those ankle joints. There we go. Now, let's put our feet on the floor. And I want you to lift your toes up, and then lift your heels up. Lift your toes up, then lift your heels up. Lift your toes up, then lift your heels up. Lift your toes up, then lift your heels up. Yeah, feel those lower leg muscles working. Perfect. Now what we're going to do, we're going to just roll our neck from side to side. Just rock it back and forth. Loosen up those neck muscles. That's all we got to do. Perfect. And now let's roll those shoulders. Roll the shoulders back. Go and forward. And back. Forward. Just loosen up those shoulder joints. There we go. Now what we're going to do is straighten our legs out. It can be a little trickier. Got that bag safely stored under the seat in front of you, but try to find a little space to just stretch those legs out. Nothing fancy, just make sure that blood isn't stagnant in your lower limbs. Alright, good. And we're just going to stretch, pull our knee to our chest. The other side, pull our knee to our chest. And one more time. Just stretch that knee towards the chest. And stretch that knee towards the chest. Alright. And last thing, we're just gonna do some simple chair squats. So your seatbelt is unfastened. Just lift yourself out of that seat. Just a little bit. 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's all there is to it. Keep that blood flow moving. Don't get too static. And as always, enjoy your flight here on Monotonic Airlines. I'm Randy Kettlebell, signing off. Alright, we are coming up on our first step climb, going up to flight level 360. Just taking a quick peek at our system status. Everything still in the green. Let's go ahead and enter in our new flight level. Mach 2 is ready. Flight management system knows what we want to do. And then we can go ahead and command that climb up to flight level 360. Autopilot is beginning the climb. passing through 35,000 feet. There, the autopilot is looking to capture at 36,000 feet. And there we are leveling off at our new altitude. Steady at Mach 0.82. And everything looks good. Oh, hello. Can I get something for you? Oh, absolutely. I would be happy to. What would you like? Just some water? Well, we can definitely do that. There you are. Yeah, it's good to stretch your legs. What takes you to Tokyo? Oh, okay. Congratulations. Yeah. Well, how long are you going to be there? Okay. Well, that's nice. And are you going to go anywhere else outside of Tokyo? Yeah, that's a good choice. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that'll be wonderful. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we get there pretty often, you know. Do you need any snacks? You sure? I've got pretzels. Can be a good idea, you know, just in case. In fact, why don't you take 2? You just never know. You know? You just never know. Alright, well, I will give those to you. Don't want them? That's fine. If you need them, you'll have them. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we're here if you need anything else. just let us know, okay? All right. And we are all set for a step climb up to flight level 380. And this on the control unit. Alright, and on our way up to flight level 380. Passing through 37,000 feet. Estimated fuel on board still looks good. Coming up on flight level 380, let's ensure we see capture from the autopilot. And we're seeing indication for capture. Vertical speed reducing. And we are leveled out at flight level 380. Ground to Tranquility 1. Ground to Tranquility 1, over. Roger that. Good evening. Yeah, it's me. Everything A-okay? Roger. Good morning. How are we doing this morning? Got some rest? Feeling refreshed? Great. Yeah, it can sometimes be difficult staying late all night like this.
Yeah, we get in about noontime in Tokyo. Well, let me get you started here for what will be our lunch service. Of course, again, chopsticks, if you would like. Okay, and what about beverage? What can I get you? Just water? Well, it's good to focus on hydration. Yeah, on a long flight like this, that's a very smart move. Okay. There you are. And I will be back with your meal very shortly. Alright, and we have one final step climb up to 40,000 feet. Our max cruise altitude for this flight. Enter there. We'll go ahead and request that to the autopilot. Seeing that climb initiate. I'm about ready for a cup of coffee to perk up for the final leg of our trip here. Been talking to ATC. It sounds like we're still north of any weather up the coast of Japan. And conditions in Tokyo are still looking quite beautiful. Japan in the springtime is so lovely. Past 39,000 feet. Alright, there we are. Leveling off at flight level 400. Now we can just cruise on in Tokyo. It's so amazing to be so high up like this. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Alrighty then.
Are we all set for the main course? Have a stellar sushi lunch for you today. It's so fresh, so perfect. Yeah, I know it's an unusual choice for a flight, right? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. It's just grocery store sushi. Yeah, we just go buy it before the flight. Yeah. Logistically, it's so much easier and cheaper. I am not kidding you. I'll show you the receipt. You don't believe me? Okay. Look, it's still gonna be good. Okay. I am totally kidding. That was my lunch from a couple days ago. We actually have something beyond top-notch. We have a chef who is way too good to be working for the airline. I don't know how they got him. Probably by paying him some astronomical sum of money that might otherwise have gone to my paycheck. But in return, you get an unbelievable meal. Yeah, they have this whole setup at the airport where the freshest fish, literally caught that day, comes in and gets prepared. And then, we have this special refrigerator on the aircraft that's just for the sushi. So yeah, this is impeccably fresh. Yeah. No, he's like Michelin star, kind of that level of sushi stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Michelin stars, sometimes their food's kind of too fancy, I don't know. Yeah. They should stick to tires. You know what I mean? Alright. Enough chit-chat. Let me present to you this incredibly fresh and superb plate of sushi. We've got a variety for you. Tuna, salmon, hamachi, the yellowtail, some rolls. We have a shrimp roll, spicy tuna, and this specialty roll with salmon, cream cheese, spicy mayo, eel sauce. It has got it all. Exquisite. And of course, wasabi and pickled ginger. Let me set that there for you. And one final accompaniment. I want to make sure that you have some wonderful soy sauce. So that you may season your sushi as desired. There we go. Alright, I invite you to enjoy your plate of sushi. And as always, let me know if you need anything. Wow, that truly is fresh. love that salmon. Terrific. Let's try the mackerel, the tuna. Just a bit of wasabi there. It's a good balance already.
Well, we've passed Adnap on our way to Algiers. Still cruising along here at 34,000 feet. A bit of rain below us, but those clouds should be opening up ahead of us as we get in closer towards the coast. Pretty tranquil up here. I want to start thinking about our descent. The top of descent coming up just around 20 minutes. Look at our charts here. This is the approach plate for Tokyo Haneda, runway 34 right, ILS approach. Frequency will be 108.9, course heading 337. We'll make sure that's all tuned down as we start our descent, and we'll review that approach. We are arriving via Singo, which is this arc approach. We'll make this intercept here, and we'll be making that arc, and then turning to line up with the runway. So we are going to head a bit inland before cutting back and making that turn for our final approach to the north into Tokyo. Of course, fairly busy airspace, so I'll want to stay tuned for any traffic alerts. And of course follow any ATC instructions as we receive them.
Well, it looks like you enjoyed it. Tell me what you thought. Isn't that just exquisite? So wonderful. It's amazing to me, the whole operation, how they keep it all so fresh. Well, I'm so happy you enjoyed it. Can I clear this stuff out of your way for you? Okay.
Alright. Well, the skies are clearing up out ahead of us. System is there to the south. And we are just about to begin our descent here.
Alright, well, we're making good time. I wanted to ask if I could get you anything else, a final beverage, maybe coffee, tea. Well, we have a wide selection of teas. Black tea, there's Earl Grey, orange pekoe, oolong. We have herbal teas, refreshing peppermint tea. And then, of course, we do the matcha service, the green tea. Yeah, I mean, we don't do like the full Japanese tea ceremony, obviously. I mean, they give us like a 30-minute training video, so. But I think it's a really amazing ritual. This idea of like putting your soul into the tea, that idea of goodwill and like care for your guests. It's kind of like the spirit of service that we like to cultivate here at Monotonic Air. Yeah, would you like me to make that for you? Well, I can certainly give it a go. I admit on some flights when it's really bumpy and the kids are screaming and everyone's really cranky, it can be tough to really put your soul into it and feel that spirit, but we've got a nice tranquil situation to work with here, so I can do my best, all right? Okay, perfect. Well, then to start, I'm going to give you this linen napkin you can use. We have our wonderful matcha powder here. And to start, this amazing handcrafted ceramic bowl. And I'm just going to swirl a little hot water just to make sure the bowl has some warmth as I start to make the tea. There we go. And we have this little strainer because we don't want any lumps in the powder that we're going to use, so I'm going to pass the tea through that sieve to make sure it's nice and fine, and will dissolve and we can make that wonderful frothy mixture. So, got my little bamboo spoon here, and we're gonna put a scoop in our sieve here, and I'm just gonna work that through. Make sure we get that nice smooth powder in there. Just pushing that through the sieve. Just working it gently through there. Okay, and then I'm gonna do one more scoop. Matcha is such an interesting flavor. Vegetal can be kind of bitter. A lot of people, it's an acquired taste, especially in its kind of more potent form like this. But it's really quite something. It's all about the care and the preparation, you know. So I'm just pushing this spoonful through the sieve, making sure it's a nice fine powder that we're working with. Pushing it through. There we go. I think we're ready. I'm going to set that down. Then we're going to add our hot water. Alright, and we want to pour from our center. Just a bit there. And then we have our special brush. And start getting that powder dissolved. And then we'll work it together. get this nice frothy concoction. Okay, I think that is just perfect. Allow me to present you this matcha. And please enjoy. So flavorsome. It is very good, isn't it? Alright, well, I will leave you with that. And thanks again for choosing to fly with us, okay? Alright. Thanks. That is a very special bowl of tea. I really feel the care that went into that. Let's see if we can't pull up current weather report from the data link. Go weather request, RJTD. Alright, and we show a company message received. So let's come back into our system here and check our received messages. We have this METAR. A little bit of a wind. No significant weather. Let's go ahead and print. Getting that information printed out for us. Tear that off, and we've got that at hand here as we need. We'll make sure we have the current weather, of course, from ATC as we get closer.
Ben. It was often the pleasure of the Dark Lord to invade the minds of his victims, to see their thoughts. Cheated on your homework.
Well, folks, good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. We'll be starting our descent into Tokyo in just about 10 minutes. Now is a great time to get up for any last stops in the lavatory. As once we do turn on that seatbelt sign for descent, we'll ask that you remain seated for the duration of the flight. Weather in Tokyo is looking pretty good. With our approach today, we'll be heading north into Haneda. And for those of you on the left side of the aircraft, you should have a nice view of Mount Fuji. So once again, thank you for flying with us here on Monotonic Airlines. And I invite you to kick back, relax, and enjoy the remainder of the flight. We'll have you on the ground in about 45 minutes. Thanks again for flying Monotonic Airlines.
The draft of living death. A sleeping potion so powerful it is like
death itself. Recommended if you struggle to get your nightly 5 hours.
Right, we have begun our descent here. Let's get those seat belts on for our passengers. Just turning in here towards Rusta. So let's take a look at our approach plate. Alright, so we'll be making the ILS approach, runway 34 right, Tokyo Haneda. ILS frequency is 108.9. Approach course is 337 degrees. Decision height of 220 feet. The airport elevation is 21 feet. I will be flying. Please handle all communications with ATC. And should we have a missed approach, we're going to climb out, maintaining heading 337 to 800 feet. We will make a right turn, and we will climb to 4,000 feet via that HME VOR. And we'll contact Tokyo Approach. In the event we should need to do so, please handle that communication, and I will continue flying the aircraft. Right. That will be our approach briefing. We are configured for that approach. Now we're going to make our turn inland here. There's Mount Fuji out there. It's pretty amazing. We've really charted the edge of the Pacific, the Ring of Fire, and Mount Rainier on our departure, and now Mount Fuji for our arrival. Two lone sentinel volcanoes, just waiting to bring about the end of life as we know it. Thrilling stuff. Geologically just fascinating. Our transition altitude is 14,000 feet, which is our current clearance from ATC. I want to shift over at that point from standard. As we get to Rusta, flight level 217. Just a little bit high. Slightly sluggish in that initial descent. So we'll keep an eye on things if we need to descend a little bit more steeply here. Right, let's run through our descent checklist. We have received airport information. We have entered in our information for Haneda, ILS 34 right. We have passed through the transition altitude. We have set our altimeter. Let's have a look that our radio frequencies are set as expected. 108.9, course 338. Check. Within our speed constraints. Check. And check our fuel, estimated fuel on board. Still looking good, so check. That completes our descent checklist. We are leveling out for the constraint here. Flying the approach as indicated. As we're reaching 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and flip on our landing lights. We are tracking inbound towards our intercept point, where we will begin our left turn to track that arc, leading into where we'll intercept the glide slope. We're coming up on our left turn here. Stable at 250 knots. Alright, when you've reached the intercept point for the Cinco arrival, there is our left turn. Get established on our arc, which we will track thanks to the wonders of trigonometry. Tuned in to the VOR. We've started a shallow descent. We circle around towards Singo. Ensuring all systems look nominal in the green. Okay. We are tracking our arc well. Alright, and we'll begin turning in, continuing this arc to get lined up for the runway. There's the turn. System up and get a view into the glide slope for alignment with the runway. Going to turn on approach mode to look for localizer and glide slope capture. Go to flaps 1. Spoilers, auto braking set to max, and we are on the glide slope. Exactly what I want to see on the localizer, both confirmed. Gear down, second notch of flaps. A nice stabilized approach. Additional amount of flaps. All right. Gear down. We have amount of fuel on board. All systems check. We're ready for landing. We are landing. Reverse thrust. stage reverse. Go ahead and exit the runway. Raise flaps. Right. We have a short taxi to our gate here. Traffic on the taxiway. We are clear. Alright folks, we have landed here in Tokyo. We know you have a choice when you fly, so we appreciate you choosing Monotonic Air, and we hope to see you again in the future. Enjoy your time here in Tokyo. Alright. Speed brake down. Turn off our landing lights. Right. We are on the ground in Tokyo. Clear. Left turn, slot into our gate here. Set our parking brake. And we have docked. All right. Well, here's to a nice, safe flight. Let's get the cockpit cleaned up here and can head out to our hotel. Now I just have to grab my bag, get my rental car, and head for the hotel. Thanks for flying with us. Thanks for flying with us. Now this is what I'm talking about. I asked for something sporty and they have delivered. Just head into the city, check into my hotel, or have a reservation for some 5-star teppanyaki, and then I can drift off to sleep.